Testing 1, 2, 3. Terry, can you hear me?
Hi, Bonnie. Can you hear me too?
Yes, I can.
Echo Charlie, over and out.
Just 1 second.
Sure.
So a little bit behind because, okay. Can't hear anything out of my headphones, so that's not good. Okay. All right. Well, we'll try this, clerks, and see if it works. Just going to call the public hearing of Tuesday, May 18th to order. Council, for the purposes of confirming quorum, please make sure your video is turned on and just let the clerk know if you're leaving the meeting. Under M192, we're participating remotely. And if my connection is lost during any portion of this meeting, we'll recess the meeting until my connection is restored. Council loses, and the same holds for council because this is a public hearing and we are required, if we're going to vote, to review all the information that's presented. Members of the public can view the proceedings via the live stream on YouTube, which is tweeted out. The link is tweeted out at Vancouver Clerk. Video of council members speaking, presentations, amendments, and vote results will be projected to viewers when available. Following guidance from February, speakers providing comments will speak by phone and a moderator will assist in patching the speakers through when it's their turn. So clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Stewart in the chair. Councillor Carr.
Here.
Councillor DiGenova.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Fry.
Here.
You sound a bit faint, Councillor Fry. Councillor Swanson. Oh, he's just
Here.
Councillor Hardwick.
Present.
Councillor Wiebe.
Present.
Councillor Boyle.
Present.
Councillor Dominato.
Present.
Councillor Bly. Councillor Bly. Not on the call. And Councillor Kirby-Young.
Present.
You have quorum, Mayor Stewart.
Thanks very much. Before we begin, of course, so we want to acknowledge we're on the traditional unceded territories of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh, and thank them for having care for these lands and look forward to working with them in partnership as we continue to build this great city together. Also want to take a moment to recognize the immense contributions of city staff who do an awesome job here to make our city an even incredible place. Before we begin, I have some announcements. Speakers will have 5 minutes to make their comments and should limit their comments to the merits of the report being considered. Speakers should also state whether they are in support or opposed to the recommendations and if they are a resident of Vancouver. Speakers may only speak once and should follow along on Twitter at Vancouver Clerk for updates to the progress of the meeting. I'll also try to call the number on the list of speakers just so you don't miss your turn. Any comments on agenda items can be submitted in writing through the online web form at vancouver.ca/public-hearing-comments. Speakers who pre-register with presentations are reminded that the public live feed has a slight delay, and so we'll navigate through slides by saying the word next, and I'll help you along if you do have a presentation. Finally, I want to note the City of Vancouver's longstanding commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, including respect for all genders. I remind council that when addressing speakers and staff, try to avoid using gender honorifics and instead refer to people by their first and last names, role, or title. Our role here at the public hearing is to be a quasi-judicial body, which means council is only to consider the merits of the rezoning application or heritage designation. Council members may ask clarifying questions from speakers, including the applicant, or technical advice, but should save debate for after the close of the speakers list. After hearing from speakers, council may 1, approve the application in principle, 2, refuse the application, or 3, refer the application to staff for further consideration. Now we're going to move to our first item, which is the rezoning on Ash Street. That's first. Does any council member wish to declare a conflict of interest? Don't hear anyone, so we'll ask clerk to read the application and summary of correspondence.
This is an application by Honestar Realty Development Limited to rezone 6869 to 6909 Ash Street from RS1 Single Detached Houses and Duplexes District to RM8A Multiple Dwelling District to permit a townhouse development with a maximum floor space ratio of 1.20. If rezoning is approved, a subsequent development permit process will entail a review of a proposed form of development. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability recommends approval. No correspondence has been received for this application since it was referred to public hearing and prior to the close of the speakers list and receipt of public comments.
Thanks so much. If there's any speakers of this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, participant code 61203, hashtag to get on the speakers list. We do have Austin Norrie here from the Rezoning Center, but we don't have any speakers to this item, council, so we could waive this presentation if
Yeah,
one of them.
move to waive the presentation, Councillor Carr.
Okay, if no one objects, we'll just, does anybody like to see it, or are we okay moving on? Okay, let's move on, and we can go to questions from staff, for staff. And I'm sorry, I don't have my queue up yet. Well, maybe I'll just ask the clerk's assistants here. Do we see on the speakers list, are there any councillors who wish to ask questions of staff?
Mayor, there are no councillors on the speaking queue.
Okay, thanks so much. I've got my panel open now. There we go. Just wondering if the applicant team is here to speak to the application.
Yes, present.
Would you like to present to council or just answer questions?
We're here just to answer questions. No presentation. Thank you.
Okay, sure. And I'll just check once again. I don't see any councillors on the queue. So we don't have any speakers registered for this item, so I'm going to make a first call then. If you're interested in speaking this item, 1-833-353-8610, code 61203, hashtag to get on the list before they close the speakers list. And the numbers available on the live stream and on Twitter. And I'm going to ask the clerks, is there anybody on the line for this item?
No speakers, Mayor.
Okay, I'm going to call a second time then, 1-833-353-8610, code 61203, hashtag to get on the list. And the number is on the live stream, if you missed that quick read. Anybody there?
No additional speakers, Mayor, or no speakers.
Okay, I'm going to call the third time, and then we'll take a 5-minute break to allow people the chance to call in. 1-833-353-8610, code 61203, hashtag to get on the list. This is the third and final call. Council, we're at 6:09. We'll come back at 6:15 to see if there's anybody who called in, and then move to debate the decision. Thanks, and we'll see you in a minute. 5 minutes.
The council is on a short recess. If
going to close the speakers list now and move to script A. So seeing there are no speakers, the speakers list is now closed. Few or no public comments received after this item is 5 p.m. today. So we're going to close the receipt of public comments and move on to hearing closing comments, making a decision. Any closing comments from the applicant?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Staff, any closing comments?
No, there's no comments from staff.
Thanks. I don't see any councillors on the queue for
Move the
questions.
recommendation, Councillor Carr.
Second, Councillor Kavanagh.
Okay, we just have to make sure the yellow memo is included. Councillor Carr, so we'll move it with the yellow memo.
Move the recommendations with the yellow memo.
Mayor, the yellow memo is item 2.
Oh, sorry. That's where my head is today. Okay, seconder. Thank you very much. Move to the debate queue. I don't see anybody there for the debate, so we can move to a vote.
Point of privilege?
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Bly.
Yeah, this is Councillor Bly. I'll need a vote assistant. I just want to confirm I've been present and following along online, so I will be voting.
Excellent. And what would you like?
In
Point
favor.
of privilege?
Thanks very much. Yes, Councillor Dejanova?
Point of privilege is Councillor Diachinova. I also
Yeah,
will
go
be
on.
needing a vote assistant in favor. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Fry. Just need a vote from you. And Councillor Weeb.
I only need a vote assist in favor, Councillor Weeb.
Okay, thanks.
My vote not come through, Mayor?
It has now, so we're good. Clerks will pull that up. This has passed with Councillor Hardwick in opposition. Okay, thanks. We're moving to item 2. I believe we have one speaker for item 2. Let me just check here. Yes, we have one speaker for item 2. And if first asked, do any members of the council wish to declare a conflict of interest on this? If not, we're going to read the application and summary correspondence. Please go ahead, Clerk.
This is an application by TL Housing Solutions to rezone 1885 East Pender Street from RM4 Residential District to CD1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of a 6-story residential building containing 64 social housing units. A height of 21.6 meters and a floor space ratio of 2.92 are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability recommends approval. No correspondence has been received on this application since it was referred to public hearing and prior to the close of the speakers list and receipt of public comments.
Thanks so much, clerks. Anybody who wants to call and talk to this item can call 1-833-353-8610, participant code 61203, hashtag to get on the list. Since we do have a speaker, we should proceed with the presentation. We have Chi Chan here from the Rezoning Center. Take it away.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Chi Chan, rezoning planner for this application at 1885 East Pender Street. I'd like to confirm that you can hear me and see the presentation.
Yep, we can definitely hear you. We can see the presentation on the on both screens, both the public and the WebEx. So please go ahead.
Okay. This application is being considered under the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. I would like to note that there is a memo in your public hearing package for this item. It contains a recommendation to approve this to amend this application's FSR slightly beyond what is included in the referral report. I will provide further information about the recommended amendment later in my presentation. So just shifting slides here, the site shown here in red at the center of the map is located on the north side of East Pender Street, 2 blocks east of Commercial Drive and 1 lot west of Victoria Drive. This rectangular shaped lot has a frontage of approximately 44 meters on East Pender Street and a depth of 37 meters, a site area of approximately 1642 square meters. I'm just waiting for the public feed to catch up here.
Did two screens look the same.
Okay. The site and the neighbors to the west, south, and east are currently zoned RM4 residential, which permits a maximum FSR of 1.45 and a building height up to 10.7 meters or 35 feet. Lots to the north, across the rear lane, front onto East Hastings Street, and are zoned MC1, light industrial, commercial, and residential mixed use. So here's an aerial photo of the site. The scale of the surrounding developments generally include 2 to 4 story apartment buildings and detached houses, and commercial and light industrial areas on East Hastings Street and northward. Next slide. This photo shows the existing site. The 4-story building previously housing the Aaron Webster Housing Cooperative was in a severely dilapidated state and posed a neighborhood security risk. For this reason, the tenants were relocated in 2018 by the applicant, the Community Land Trust, and the building was demolished. I will speak about the tenant relocation later in the presentation. 4 mature trees, visible at the edges of this photo, were retained. Next slide. Neighborhood amenities, including a range of parks, cultural, and community spaces such as the Britannia Community Center, and a number of schools, churches, and childcare centers are located around the site. The site also falls within the catchment areas of the nearby Britannia Elementary and Secondary Schools, both with surplus spaces for additional students. The site is well served by transit, being located within 2 blocks of 4 frequent transit bus routes, including the R5 rapid bus between downtown and SFU, as well as 2 bike routes. Next slide. The rezoning potential for this site is guided by the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. The housing policies in the Grandview Woodland Plan seek to maintain and increase the number of rental units provided in the neighborhood, including mixed income and non-market housing, while also ensuring a diverse array of housing to meet the needs of present and future residents. This application falls within the Northwest residential apartment area, which permits rezoning consideration for 6-story buildings with a density up to 2.4 FSR for secured rental projects. For non-market projects, Section 7 of the plan permits consideration of modest increases in height and density to assist with project viability. Next slide. This application proposes to rezone the site from RM4 to CD1 to permit the development of a 6-story residential building with 64 social housing units, of which 43% or 28 units are suitable for families. The applicant, the Community Land Trust, is a nonprofit society and development arm of the Co-op Housing Federation of British Columbia. CLT's mandate is to develop and maintain a stock of permanently affordable homes for low and middle income residents. This application proposes an FSR of 2.92 and a height of 21.6 meters, or about 70 feet. In the memo to Council, staff recommend an amendment to Section 5.2 of the draft CD1 bylaw to permit an FSR up to 3.0. This morning, Council enacted a bylaw to amend the Zoning and Development bylaw regarding amendments to the RM3A, RM4, and RM4N district schedules to allow social housing apartments up to 6 stories and an FSR of up to 3.0. This memo recommends that this project be permitted an FSR of 3.0 in alignment with Council's newly enacted amendments to the RM4 district schedule. This minor increase in FSR will provide some minor design flexibility for the applicant when completing their detailed design. The application remains consistent with the objectives of the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. As part of the Restart Smart Vancouver initiative in response to COVID-19, this project will contribute approximately 224 new on-site and off-site construction jobs during the initiative's recovery phase. This application was received on October 7, 2020, and was processed through the city's SHORT program. It has reached public hearing in just over 7 months. Next slide. Here's a ground floor plan of the site showing an efficient double-loaded corridor wood frame building. The proposal includes common co-located ground floor indoor and outdoor amenity areas and an outdoor children's play area, all at the southwest corner of the site. The amenity spaces will get plenty of sunlight. The applicant also proposes to include 2 ground floor, 2-bedroom units that could be licensed as family childcare units. A family childcare unit can provide childcare services for up to 7 children should the tenant choose to obtain a license from Vancouver Coastal Health. Family childcare offers a supplementary alternative to licensed group facilities and offers more schedule flexibility for parents who prefer a home care setting and serves as an extra source of income for parents who wish to or need to stay home with their own children. There's a passenger drop-off space in the rear lane next to these units to facilitate pickup and drop-off. Next slide. The new building would house the Webster Housing Cooperative, a nonprofit organization with an elected board of directors who are tasked with governing, operating, and maintaining the building for its members, the residents of the co-op. The proposed building meets the city's definition of social housing, where, at a minimum, 30% of units are to be affordable to households with incomes equal to or less than Hills rates, ranging between $51,000 for a 1-bedroom to $73,000 for a 3-bedroom unit. However, the applicant is pursuing funding from BC Housing's Community Housing Fund, and should they be successful, has proposed even deeper levels of affordability, with 20% of the units at the shelter component of income assistance, 50% of units that are rent geared to income for households making at or less than the Hills rates, and 30% of units at the low end of market. Next slide. There were 31 tenanted units in the previous Webster Housing Cooperative building on this site. Due to the dilapidated state of the previous building, tenants were rehoused in 2018 by CLT at 95 East First Avenue, a social housing building owned by the city and leased to CLT. Moving costs to 95 East First were subsidized by the applicant, and most importantly, the entire co-op was relocated together as a community to the new building and continues to operate collectively as a nonprofit housing co-op throughout the redevelopment phase. The board of the co-op receives monthly communications from CLT regarding the status of the redevelopment. The housing charges for existing members range from $267 to $1,275 per month, with an average of about $841 per month. Prior to and throughout the redevelopment process, CLT has engaged the existing tenants on the redevelopment plans in order to ensure that the members' needs are being met in the new building. As part of the tenant relocation plan back to the new building, the applicant proposes that all members will be offered the right of first refusal to return. Their housing charges will not exceed 30% of their household income and will be offered compensation for moving expenses. Next slide. A pre-application open house was not held prior to the application submission, as the proposed development was deemed to be consistent with the expectations of the Grandview Woodland plan. Following submission of the rezoning application, the application drawings and details were made available online, along with my contact information and a form to easily submit feedback. The city-led virtual open house was held in October and November 2020. In total, we received approximately 29 pieces of feedback. Next slide. We heard a variety of comments throughout the review of this application. Key themes of support included the provision of affordable housing and the building's height, density, and design. Key themes of concern included building height, density, and impacts on views and sunlight. Next slide. Staff have reviewed the application and concluded that the proposed 6-story height and design align with the intent of the Grandview Woodland plan for this site. The applicant provides ground-oriented apartment units with a landscape buffer along the street and lane interfaces to reinforce the residential character of the project. The applicant has also retained 4 mature on-site trees along the front of the project despite the demolition, as illustrated in this elevation. The upper stories of the building are clad with lighter colored materials to visually reduce the overall appearance of the upper story massing. The building's design, subject to the conditions in Appendix B, is appropriate for the site and the existing and future context along East Pender Street. Last slide. In summary, staff recommend approval of this application to rezone 1885 East Pender Street from RM4 to CD1, subject to the conditions outlined in Appendix B of the report, as it meets the intent of the Grandview Woodland Community Plan with respect to the delivery of social housing. As per the memo, staff also recommend an amendment to the draft CD1 bylaw to increase the allowable FSR for this project from 2.92 to 3 to align with the provisions that are now available for development permit application on this site. Council is asked to move a motion to adopt the recommendation contained in the memo as part of the decision tonight on this project. If approved, the application would contribute 64 new social housing units towards achieving the housing goals identified in the Housing Vancouver strategy. Thank you very much for listening. Staff and the applicant teams are available to take your questions.
Thanks so much. And I'm going to move to the applicant team now. Do you wish to speak to this application?
Yes, Tiffany DeZita, Executive Director of Community Land Trust. I actually just want to congratulate Chi. I mean, he did a fabulous job there talking about our proposal, and I'd just like to acknowledge the hard work done by staff that have allowed us to reach this stage. They've been so supportive and understanding of not only our needs for the building, but the existing community that you heard Chi describe in his presentation. And I'd just like to add that tonight is very much a project milestone for us, not only in the municipal process, but our society. This is our first freehold land project that we're redeveloping in the city of Vancouver, and really demonstrates what the community housing sector can do when we control our own land assets for growing affordable housing in the city of Vancouver. As you heard Chi explain, we're more than doubling the number of homes for the Aaron Webster Housing Co-op from 31 to 64. That will accommodate a wide variety of household sizes. You mentioned him talk about us safely housing the existing members less than 4 kilometers away from the subject site, maintaining that affordability, not only while they're being rehoused, but also when they move back, and also inviting those members to sit at the table with us as we design their future building, and not only understand their current need, but what is the future need of their members and their growing families and aging populations and accessibility needs in their building, and how to welcome new members into their co-op, because they will be doubling the number of homes. So I'd just like to end and say, you know, we have our project team here tonight available to answer and address any questions council may have. And other than that, we're very excited to move forward and build more cooperative housing in the city of Vancouver. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Councillor Swanson, I see you on the queue. You can ask questions to the staff or the applicant. Up to 5 minutes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's planned to happen with the site where the current residents of this place are 95 East First. What's going to happen with that site when it's empty?
Thank you, Councillor Swanson, for that question. I will hand that over to the applicant to respond as to what happens once the former Aaron Webster tenants move back to the new building.
Yes, to answer that question, so they're living in 95 East First. That's 135 homes. Aaron Webster takes up 31 of those. So the Aaron Webster members will have the right of first refusal to move back into this new building, or they could apply to actually stay within the existing building that they're in at 95 East First and become members of Rail Yard Housing Co-op, which is the other co-op that is in that building that occupies the remaining 104 homes. So they can either stay in the brand new building that they're living now in a great community, or they can move back to another brand new building at their old site. The beauty of that is that their housing is preserved and the affordability is preserved. And then any homes that are vacated by Aaron Webster members to move back to 1885 East Pender will roll into the Rail Yard Housing Co-op. So they'll just increase in their number of member households.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't see any other questions from council at the moment, so we can go to the public. Anybody who wants to talk to this item, 1-833-353-8610, 61203 hashtag to get on the list. We do have one registered speaker who is Blair Redlin. Blair Redlin, are you there?
I am Mayor Stewart. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Please go ahead up to
great.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. I am Blair Redlin. I live near East Georgia and Semlin, which is a few blocks away from this proposed development. And I just wanted to speak tonight for a couple of reasons. one, as a neighbor of this site, I'm so excited to see, a 100% co-op housing non-market development that will double the number of units from the previous 31 to 64, and will contain opportunities for childcare on site. This is exactly the kind of development that we need more of in Vancouver. There are many housing co-ops in this community of Grandview Woodland that have been here for many years and have been key to the livability of this community. And it's good to see that they're expanding. Most recently, the beautiful, deeply energy efficient Turner Street Co-op is a new co-op nearby here. It's excellent that the co-op and the land trust temporarily house the residents to carefully avoid displacement. This, what is called the Northwest Apartment Zone within the Grandview Woodland Community Plan, west of Victoria Drive, consists of really important, actually affordable housing. The area is 3- and 4-story walk-up apartments for the most part. And so a major concern in the development of the Grandview Woodland Community Plan was ensuring this affordability is retained and that people were not displaced by other developments in this area. And so it's exciting that this has come forward to be consistent with the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. And I guess that was the other major reason that I asked to speak tonight, is that this is consistent with the plan, which was approved by Council in 2016 after a very stressful and angst-ridden and expensive 5-year process. And, the community has been seeing a number of approvals and proposals that are not consistent with the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. And one a lot of people are worried about are the mega towers at Broadway and Commercial that are coming up that are not consistent with the Grandview Community Plan. But this proposal on Pender is, and so I wanted to mark that and congratulate the city and the planning department and the developer for doing this. It's going to be an excellent transit accessible housing with really nice views for many of the people that live there. It'll be great to have these additional 64 units of neighbors in this community building their and prospering through their affordable housing co-ops. So I think it's great, and I just think sometimes it's good to take a moment and mark when the city does things well. And I think this is excellent, and we need more of it. We need more like this. So those were the reasons I was speaking. I'm really pleased that it's consistent with the Grandview Woodland Community Plan.
Thank you,
Blair
Redland. And I don't see any questions for you from council, so just thank you for your participation. And I'm going to go now and call for the first call for speakers. Thanks again for calling in. 1-833-353-8610, 61203 hashtag, and Clerk, so we got anybody on the line?
No additional speakers, Mayor.
Okay, second call, same number, same code. You can get it all on the live stream or on Twitter if you want to participate, and check with the clerks. Anybody there?
No additional speakers, Mayor.
Third time, 1-833-353-8610, 61203 hashtag to get on the list. Council, it is 6:38. We'll come back at 6:43 for debate and decision. Thanks. Okay, clerk's just checking. Has anybody else phoned in?
No additional speakers, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. So we're going to close the speakers list. And as we've received no public comments after 5 p.m., we're going to close the receipt of public comments and just ask, does the applicant have any closing comments?
No further comments, Mayor and Council.
Right, and staff have any closing comments? From the Rezoning Center? We're good? Okay.
No further comments. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And I don't see any questions for staff, so we can have someone move the recommendation.
Councillor Boyle?
With the yellow memo, I suppose.
Councillor Boyle with the yellow memo?
Second. Councillor DeGenova.
Second.
I heard Councillor Dejanova first. Thanks very much. And we'll just move over to the, sorry, Council, I just have to, I'm changing to the queue now. Councillor Boyle, please go ahead, up to 5 minutes for comments.
Thanks, Mayor, and I just want to briefly say how excited I am about this project, and I'll echo some of what the speaker Blair Redlin said and was outlined by the proponent, that I think it's a really powerful example of what's possible in terms of keeping a community together, of increasing the number of, in this case, co-op housing units in 2 different parts of the city, and creating housing that's more affordable for a lot of folks who live here. I'm really impressed with the work that the Community Land Trust did in supporting tenants moving together to the new building, in building this new building. The new building is not far from me as well, and I look forward to it being part of the community. And overall, I think it's such a important and exciting gain for all of us in the city that we have this new co-op, that we have the rail yard, the new Olympic Village co-op, and that all of these folks are people who work and contribute in our communities and can continue to call it home. So a great example that I hope we see a lot more of all across the city, and I am very, very happy to support it.
Thanks very much. Councillor Kirby-Young, up to 5.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'll try to be brief. I would describe this project as a home run in the sense that it's providing the most needed type of housing in the city. But it's compliant with the neighborhood's plan, in this case, the Grandview Woodlands area plan. And it also is aspiring to deliver a greater level of affordability than the statutory definition of social housing, which just requires the 30% of below market. So I think that that's exciting to see. And I think it demonstrates, when you work with community and people have an understanding of what's coming into their neighborhood, how we can sort of embrace diverse types of tenure and housing type, and in a way that is sort of positive for the community, and that people can sort of welcome it and get excited about it and embrace it, which is, I think, what we aspire to in terms of planning and how we put policies forward. So that's great to see. And I also noted the comment earlier from the proponent with respect to the fact that this is the first freehold project that they're doing in the city of Vancouver, which is very exciting. So nice to see the tenure with co-op, nice to see the doubling of units, nice to see support from the community, and again, compliant with the plan. So for me, it checks a number of boxes, and I'm very happy to support it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Councillor Weave.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm allowed to ask a point of information through to staff. I was hoping to get on a question list there.
Yep, I think you can.
Yeah, so first question is
Just 1 second before we go. I'm just going to check with the clerks to make sure that's correct. Just because we have, shut the speakers list if there's any additional information, but I just want to check with the clerks that we're able to ask points of information through this part of the process. Okay, I have the magic. Yeah, we're just checking, Councillor Weave.
Mayor, as per the procedure bylaw, section 1313, The order is determined for each agenda item there, and the council questions portion is now complete.
Right. So it is different than a regular council meeting, Councillor Weeb, just because of the quasi-judicial nature of it, that any new information has to be, made public before the close of the speakers list. And so that's why at this point it's only comments.
Okay, I thought I got on the list before it got moved. Okay, I will comment. I think that the family childcare units are impressive. I think that's something we need to look at more in future buildings. I think it's a creative way of delivering childcare around the city. I would have liked to see that the amenity space be put on the roof that would allow for child play area, as well as greening the roof. I know we're seeing a lot of projects that are really taking advantage of the opportunity to create community space and amenity space that is on the roof that allows more neighbors to share little garden plots and green space and be better connected. So hopefully with the added FSR, maybe they can work in the next phase to look at opportunities to include that. I also like the fact that this follows the community plan and is endorsed by people from the community. I think the community spends a lot of work in those meetings to kind of vision out what could happen, and obviously things grow and things change, but I like that this project is something that's exactly what we're looking for, in the sense that it's delivering these spaces available. Some people might not come back because they've fell in love with the new neighborhood, but I like the idea of how we've moved people and kept them together as much as possible to ensure that that community, which is irreplaceable, is kept together. So really appreciate the way this project's been delivered, and I will be supportive.
Thanks, Councillor Weeb. On to Councillor Swanson.
Yeah, I just think this is a great project. As a co-op resident, I'm really happy to see another co-op happening. I wish you could get more co-ops happening. I think it's great that they own their own land. They're not having the excruciating problem of dealing with the city about their lease. So that's great. I'm glad that they're getting provincial dough to make it a lot more affordable. So yeah, I'd like to see these all over the city. It's great. I'm really happy. We'll really be happy to vote for this.
Thanks, Councillor Swanson. That's it for comments from council. So I think we can move to the vote. Okay, Councillor Dejanova.
Point of privilege. Thanks, Mayor Stewart. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ken, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think I was double muted. I had to push *6. Point of privilege, if I could have a vote assist in favor. Thank you.
Thanks very much. The votes are complete, and that has passed unanimously. Thanks very much, Council, and good work by all. This is definitely the kind of housing we need to see in the city, and very nice work. Okay, Council, we're on to item number we're on item number 3, 1650 East 12th. I'll just ask if any council member has a conflict of interest they wish to declare at this point. I don't see any, so we'll have the clerk read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by Sequestering Architecture to rezone 1650 East 12th Avenue from C2C1 Commercial District to CD1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of a 6-story mixed-use building containing 65 strata-titled residential units. A height of 21.3 meters and a floor space ratio of 3 are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability recommends approval. The following correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing and prior to the close of the speakers list and receipt of public comments. 14 pieces of correspondence in support and 1 piece of correspondence dealing with other aspects of the application. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thanks so much. Anybody who wants to speak to this item, it's 1-833-353-8610, code 61203 hashtag to get on the list. We have Tess Monroe from the Rezoning Center. Council, we don't, from my view, I don't think we have any speakers to this item. So if everybody's okay, we could just move we could waive the presentation, but I'll just ask, is everyone okay if we waive the presentation?
Mr. Mayor, it's Councillor Carr here.
Yep.
I don't know. The list that I
you know
have
what?
has
I was-
7
Yes, you're
speakers
right.
on it.
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong item. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead with the presentation.
Okay.
Sorry, I just looked at the wrong list.
Thank you.
Thanks for the catch.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tess Monroe, and I am the rezoning planner for this application. Just confirming that you can see the presentation.
We can, yes, on both screens. Thanks.
Great. The site shown outlined in red is located on the southwest corner of Commercial Drive and East 12th Avenue. It is comprised of a single C2, C1 zone lot and is currently developed with a single-story commercial building and surface parking lot. As there are no residential tenants on site, the tenant relocation and protection policy does not apply. The site is currently zoned to allow for commercial development. Rezoning is being considered under the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. For sites along Commercial Drive, such as the rezoning site, the plan anticipates 6-story mixed-use and office buildings as a transition to the higher density mixed-use development closer to Commercial Broadway SkyTrain Station. To the west, sites are zoned RM11N, which permit 4-story apartment buildings through the development permit process. A number of developments in the surrounding area are under consideration as shown in purple or approved as shown in blue. The site is located within the catchment of the Queen Alexandria Elementary School, located within a 9-minute walk of the site, and within the catchment of Vancouver Technical Secondary School. The site is well served by transit, being located 3 blocks south of the Commercial Broadway SkyTrain Station, with convenient bus service on Commercial Drive. Several parks are located nearby, including Clerk Park to the south and Trout Lake Park to the southeast of the site. This proposal is being considered under the Grandview Woodland Community Plan, which is a comprehensive document designed to shape growth and change in the neighborhood over the next 30 years. It strikes a balance between a wide range of considerations, including community input, community needs assessments, citywide policies, technical and design analysis, and economic testing. The plan was approved by Council in July 2016 after more than 4 years of public process. This included a wide variety of community engagement, such as storytelling events, questionnaires, dialogue sessions, and stakeholder-focused activities. The site is within the Commercial Broadway Station precinct sub-area of the plan, which provides directions to support the development of a transit-oriented neighborhood, featuring a broad array of housing opportunities, as well as services and jobs. At this location, shown as a red box on the map, mixed-use buildings up to 6 stories in height can be considered. A density of up to 3 FSR is suggested based on the intended urban design performance. In accordance with the plan, this application proposes to rezone the site to permit the development of a 6-story mixed-use building with retail space at grade and 65 strata residential units. 35% of the units in the building are proposed as family units, which meets the minimum requirement under the city's family room policy. A maximum height of approximately 21.3 meters and an FSR of 3 are proposed. This application was received on April 30th, 2020, and represents an approximately 12-month review process to public hearing. A virtual open house was held for the proposal from September 14th to October 4th, 2020 on the Shape Your City platform. Public input was received throughout the application process through online questions and comment forms and by email and phone. A total of 19 submissions were received. Comments received in support of the proposal generally cited the appropriateness of the building height, massing, and density given the proximity to rapid transit, support for the building design, inclusion of the retail space, and additional housing stock for the area. Concerns generally related to building height, traffic and parking issues in the neighborhood, and an insufficient number of family units. In response to public feedback, staff note that the proposed building complies with the Grandview Woodland Plan in terms of housing tenure, height, and density. Staff have reviewed the application for transportation impacts, and given the use and scale of development, anticipated improvements to transportation infrastructure, and its close proximity to frequent transit and cycling infrastructure, Staff do not anticipate any meaningful impacts to existing road network operations or safety. Additionally, parking is to be provided in accordance with the parking bylaw. The application proposes 35% of the units to be suitable for families, including 12% as 3-bedroom units, which meets the family housing requirement of the housing mix policy. Staff have included rezoning conditions requiring the inclusion of children's outdoor play area and enlarged balconies for the family units to help address the family housing requirements, as well as an improved transition to the neighboring detached houses to the west to improve neighborliness and massing. As part of the Restart Smart Vancouver initiative in response to COVID-19, this project will contribute approximately 230 new on-site and off-site construction jobs during the initiative's recovery phase. In summary, the proposal meets the intent of the Grandview Woodland Plan, and staff recommend the application be approved, subject to conditions outlined in Appendix B. Staff and the applicant team are available to answer questions. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that. Council, just wanted to say I'm actually feeling quite unwell. So I've been talking with Councillor Hardwick and through the clerk to Councillor Hardwick. So I'm going to turn the chair over to Councillor Hardwick this evening, and we'll see you tomorrow bright and early. But I think I just need to get my head down for a little bit. So thanks so much, and over to Deputy Mayor Hardwick. And you might need a few minutes to set up, but I'll be signing off. Okay.
Feel better, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, picking up where we left off. Just checking, we've read the application, the summary of correspondence. We've had the presentation. I guess we're at the stage now if the applicant team is here to speak to the application.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Mayor Stewart and Council. I guess Mayor Stewart is off now. My name's Ryan Sakon from West Group Properties. On behalf of West Group and the project team, we'd like to thank staff for the work they've done on this application, and also Mayor and Council for considering this rezoning tonight. We're excited about the application and how it's realized the vision and goals set out in the Grandview Woodlands Community Plan, and also for the revitalization of retail space along Commercial Drive and residential housing in close proximity to rapid transit. We would be happy to answer any questions you may have, and thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council to staff or the applicants? Now, forgive me as I get reoriented here. Can I see the control queue? I see that Councillor Boyle is on. Councillor Boyle?
Yes, I do have questions. Thank you, Chair Hardwick. My question to the applicant is actually about the retail. I'm interested to hear more about what type of at-grade retail you plan to include or attract, and how the design matches with the type of retail that you are aiming for.
Yeah, thank you for your question. As we kind of get closer to the construction completion, we will be going through a lease program and targeting different types of users. One user that we are excited about and that we will target for the corner CRU along 12th and commercial is a restaurant user. Obviously, a lease hasn't been signed yet, but we're excited and hopefully going to design the building in that CRU especially for a restaurant user.
Okay. Do you know if the Circus Play space is there discussion about them staying? I know that has been a important space for a lot of parents in the neighborhood.
That has been an important space, and we're working closely with all of our tenants at the space currently, and we will be meeting what is in our lease terms with all of these tenants. That being said, I think the conversation is a little preliminary to understand if they will be joining.
Sure enough. I'm just interested in local, small local businesses, but that's not a question. So those are all of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't see any other council.
Yeah, I'm on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councillor Wiebe.
Hi, my question's for either the proponent or staff, and that's on the addition of a rooftop amenity, recognizing there's limited space with the view cones. I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why a rooftop amenity space in Green Roof wasn't contemplated at this location.
This is Tess from the Rezoning Center. Unlike some community plan areas that allow the rooftop amenity, that policy is not part of this area. So it is partially limited by the view cone and that there is no policy to support an amenity room on the roof.
So the Grandview Woodlands plan does not allow for it, or just this component of the area?
The Grandview Woodland plan doesn't currently call it out or allow for it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? No further questions from council. Please note that this is the only opportunity for council to ask questions of the applicant. I'm not, anybody else jumping on there? In that case, we will now hear from the public. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 61203 hashtag to get on the list before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be tweeted out and made available on the live stream. Clerk, are there any speakers on the line? I've got to just put my hands on the registered speaker list on the line. Just a moment, please bear with me. This kind of came out of the blue. Okay. I see now that our first speaker is Matthew, forgive me, Waslinko. Matthew Waslinko? Am I close? Clerk?
Just one moment, Chair.
Hello?
There.
Hi, is that Matthew?
Hi, yeah, this is Matthew speaking. Am I on it? Can everyone hear me?
You are on, and could you pronounce your surname, and are you a resident of Vancouver?
My name is Matthew Wasilenko. I am a resident of Vancouver. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I guess wishing the Mayor the best this evening. I'm here tonight to speak in support of my application for 1650 East 12th, both from the perspective as a Vancouver resident, but also as a commercial real estate broker and an advocate for new commercial space in the community. First of all, from a resident's perspective, I think this proposal has great potential to be a positive action for the area and is exactly the sort of mixed-use project that makes sense for the property. Professionally, I specialize in retail leasing and sales, and I'm particularly focused in the East Van area. So to the question earlier regarding the retail, that's something I'm particularly interested in as well. As an industry professional who knows the community, I am pleased to see the new commercial space proposed for this part of the city. Commercial Drive, and especially the southern portion of the drive, would see significant benefit from new high-quality commercial space. And this location, given it's very walkable within the community and also its proximity to transit, would certainly benefit from that as well. As it stands today, there is a shortage of quality retail locations that can support the growth in the community and also the business demand in the area. Speaking from my own professional background, we've recently had a few listings in the area that were met with multiple offers within the first 2 weeks of launching, which is incredibly quick from a commercial real estate leasing standpoint and timeline. That shows to me that demand is quickly outpacing supply in this neighborhood for quality retail space. By adding new quality commercial spaces, coupled with residential uses above, this application presents an opportunity to really transform this corner and help create more commercial activity for future and existing businesses along Commercial Drive. I think this application is a worthwhile improvement for the property and one that would have a very positive impact for the neighborhood. Thank you for the opportunity to share my support with you this evening. I think this application presents a strong development for the location, and I hope you consider it favorably. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any speakers or questions for you. Thank you very much, speaker. Let's move on to the next person on the list, who is Molly Kavanagh. Molly Kavanagh, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hi there. Yes, are you a Vancouver resident, and do you you have 5 minutes?
Yes, I am a Vancouver resident. So I'm just going to read out my speaking points here. So my name is Molly Kavanagh, and I'm a teacher living in Vancouver. I'd like to offer my support for the project at 1650 East 12th Avenue. I was excited to see a new proposal for this corner of Commercial Drive. Walking by, I've always noticed that this area needs a little bit of TLC. A combination of residential and commercial will help to connect this part of the neighborhood and with the action further north along the drive. I've been a long-time renter in Vancouver, and I know, as I'm sure you do, that to own a house in Vancouver is difficult to do so, even in my case, where I come from a double-income household. I like that there are options like this for me on the market in this area, and in the next few years when I'm looking to purchase in Vancouver, it would probably be in a building just like this. It's comforting to know that buildings like this, located in such a desirable area, are being built so that I'll be able to continue living where I'd like to in Vancouver when I buy a home. In my teaching program, I often hear about the shortage of teachers in Vancouver and how that directly correlates with our inability to find places to live within our price range. We're often unable to find substitute teachers in the Vancouver area. I hope that you'll take into consideration tonight that there are people like me who hope to continue living in Vancouver when they buy a home. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this evening. I don't see any questions for you. No, I don't see any questions. Thank you for coming. It appears that speaker 3 is not on the line, but speaker 4 is on the line. So Leslie McHale, are you on the line?
I am.
Hi.
Good evening.
Introduce yourself and whether you're a Vancouver resident. Thank you.
I will.
5 minutes.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Leslie McHale, and I am a Vancouver resident. I'm speaking on behalf of Commercial Drive Business Society today, and we wish to express our support for the rezoning application of 1650 East 12th Avenue, located in our business district. The Commercial Drive BIA has been supporting and promoting growth and vitality for the unique since Commercial Drive, supporting local businesses for many years. Well, here's where you'll find some of the most eclectic and well-loved businesses in the city. With this close in mind, the BIA has been in discussion with West groups to ensure that the public realm enhancements offered can fit in with the rest of the drive as seamlessly as possible. Our goal is that the 21 blocks of Commercial Drive from Venables to 13th create a coherent and individual brand that attracts shoppers from all over. We have been encouraged to see that West Group is interested in this as well. Our vision is aligned. Around 5 years ago, this BIA played an active role in developing the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. The development falls under the station mixed use and employment land use area in the commercial Broadway Station precinct. It follows the recommendations of the plan, precisely advocating for 6-story mixed-use developments. There is rental available in this area already, with more to come, I'm sure. It is my belief that the condos are well suited to this location and will help activate new commercial activity. Condominiums will allow young families, first-time buyers, and empty nesters the opportunity to join our community and the housing market. I've been encouraged by West Group's community outreach and their willingness to understand the needs of Commercial Drive and our community. On behalf of Commercial Drive Business Society, we ask you to please vote in favor of this project at 1650 East 12th Avenue. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you this evening.
And thank you for joining us. I don't see any questions. So thanks again and enjoy your evening. Moving on to our next speaker. Sorry, I've had a lot of moving parts here. Riley Wood. Riley Wood, are you there? Number 5?
Hello, yes I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. You have 5 minutes to address council, and can you tell us, are you a Vancouver resident?
Hello, yes, I am a Vancouver resident.
Please
Hi,
go ahead.
so my name is Riley Wood. I'm calling in to support this zoning proposal. I live immediately to the south of this proposed building. I'm on the strata council of the neighboring building, although tonight I'm calling in a personal capacity. This proposal will affect me. You know, there's going to be noise during construction, and it will actually block my personal view of the North Shore Mountains. I'm a little sad about that, but that's okay. When I moved to this neighborhood, I didn't have the expectation that it would never change again. This is a really fantastic location next to 2 rapid transit lines. I love it here. My family loves it here. And I think it's awesome that more people will get the chance to live here. The only objection I have tonight is to do with how this is being planned. We're all here to decide whether to create an entirely new zoning district that only applies to this one specific lot, and the pejorative term for that would be spot zoning. It just doesn't really make sense to give each building its own zoning district, but that's more or less what Vancouver planners are doing today. If you look up comprehensive development districts on the city website, we're over 700 now. This will probably be number 740 or so. It's reached a point where no one person can understand our entire zoning code, and it's because we keep creating new, unique zoning districts for mostly unremarkable buildings like this. It takes up a lot of staff time, and it takes up a lot of your time as well, because you have to approve each new zoning bylaw individually. This is just a 6-story building next to a train station. It's nothing really special, and it could and should be allowed under a more general multifamily zoning district. I realize that fixing that is a long-term thing, and I'm certainly not expecting you to fix it tonight. I hope that you approve this proposal as is, and then take some steps toward a planning system that's simpler and less work for all of us. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for joining us this evening. I don't see any questions for you. Okay, and it looks like speaker number 6 is on the line. Oh, is Drazen Barecki. Drazen, are you there?
Yeah, hi there. How are you?
I'm well, thank
Can you hear me?
you. Thank you for joining
good.
us this evening. You have 5 minutes, and can you tell us, are you a Vancouver resident?
Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. Yeah, so I am. I'm a local resident, and I'm a homeowner in the area as well. So thanks for letting me have a quick couple of minutes. Sorry, I've just been trying to put my kids down here, so it's been a bit of a crazy couple minutes here. But do thank you for the time to speak. My wife and I did move into the area just a couple of years ago as our family expanded, so we do have a young family. We love the area, and I'm calling in to provide my support for the redevelopment of this particular area. And so we welcome the continued growth and revitalization of the area, just because we just see it as a part of the bigger picture. And we certainly understand that as the real estate prices, increase across our city, my wife and I think it's pretty important that we actually make smart use of underutilized land. So essentially, we don't mind seeing stacking up of one another as far as, commercial and residential uses. We also, like the idea of maybe shifting some of the parking to underground, offering a greater opportunity for, commercial spaces to open up, as well as we see there's a value in providing housing, to all folks, right? And so that includes a combination of the houses and the condo developments that we see that are coming around us, as well as offering additional business opportunities for people that are on commercial or close to that particular corner. And so we see Commercial Drive as a vibrant piece of, Vancouver history, and we want to see that continue to grow and expand into additional spaces. For us, we've been here just under 5 years, but we've seen a lot of growth and development and renewal in areas sort of north of Broadway where we're residing along the drive. But we've sort of noticed as we walk around and as we, being that we're in the area and as we walk around and see things, we just sort of feel that maybe a little less attention has been given to this particular part of south of Broadway. And so, we want to support and advocate for, reinvestment in this area, again, just to boost the intersection. We like the idea of additional retail space. And as far as what we can see based on the plans, we love what's going on. Now, it's easy for us, of course, for us to say, but we do, fully support this, and we're looking to see additional growth with bodies and with families and people moving into this area. So we definitely think that the proposal fits at least what we think is a good neighborhood plan. So we are, again, in full support of its advancement. So that's so thanks again for letting me share my thoughts. I know I had 5 minutes, but I've got a child who's probably a little upset downstairs, so I got to make my way back down.
Well, thank you for speaking with us this evening. You don't have any questions, so enjoy the rest of your evening.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Good evening. Next up is number 7, Corey Martin. Corey Martin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you just fine. Your name is Corey Martin.
Perfect.
Are you will have 5 minutes, and are you a Vancouver resident?
Perfect. So bear with me. I've got, just like last call, I've got my little guy right beside me. So if there's any interruptions, bear with me here. I'm not currently a local Vancouver resident. I live just outside town, but I lived close to that specific location for more than 15 years, and I've had family in Commercial Drive for about 35 years. So I've grown up in the area and known it well, and I'd like to offer my support for this proposed project. I'm also still an East Vancouver property owner. I do own commercial space, and I own a business locally, and I'm actually an active realtor in the neighborhood as well on the residential side. So I know you heard the perspective from a commercial broker earlier. I'd like to give mine from the residential side. As a realtor in the residential side of things, I see firsthand how difficult it is for people to enter the housing market in Vancouver, and how few options there are for people who want to be in this community specifically. I should add that I almost exclusively work in East Vancouver and largely in the Grandview Woodland community. Obviously, the large majority of the first-time homebuyers cannot afford to purchase a single-family home, so most are looking to condominiums as a way to enter the market and to house their families. As such, I have many clients who've been looking for units just like these. I believe this new development will help fulfill the needs of the community as well as the broader public, and I'm happy that there will be a good selection of 2- and 3-bedroom homes for local families, as well as retaining the commercial spaces below. As the last caller said, I used to walk by that site regularly. We made use of Circus Cafe with my young family as well. Really, it's underutilized currently. It offers no housing, which is a real opportunity, I believe. With 65 new homes, we're right by the SkyTrain, bus lines, and the bike routes as well, allowing residents for easy use of public transit and access to other parts of the Lower Mainland without necessarily having to use or own a vehicle. The commercial units at grade will retain the availability of commercial spaces along the drive as well, which I know the business community is supportive as well. The combination of new condominiums alongside these high-quality commercial spaces will help draw future residents to this location south of Broadway along the drive, and this location is well suited to this height and density as outlined in the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you, and I hope you will consider supporting this development in your decision tonight. It's a great area, and I hope to see this come to fruition. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I don't see any questions for you, so have a good evening. Okay, if there are any other speakers uh, for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 61203 hashtag to get on the list before we close the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be tweeted out and made available on the live stream. Speaker, that's still the same. Clerk, are there any additional speakers currently? What's our status?
Deputy Mayor, there is one additional speaker on the line.
Well, could we have that speaker, please? Hello, speaker?
Yes, hello. I'm online. My
Hello,
name's
could you please state your full name and if you are a resident of Vancouver?
sure, Deputy Mayor. My name's Stephen Bohas. I am a resident of Vancouver. I actually live in Grandview Woodland. And as a renter, I'm actually not supportive of this unit, this proposal, for a number of reasons. You know, it has some items that seem to try to follow the zoning, but technically speaking, it does not follow the city's own Grandview Woodland Community Plan. Now, I can go through how the Grandview Woodland Community Plan is not what the Citizens Assembly wanted. It's actually the plan that got imposed in the 11th hour by city staffers. And as their plan, there is this section called 6.7.1 that has a specific policy that pertains to this site. And you can actually go to page 112 of the Grandview Woodland Community Plan and read it. It says the portion of any building above 18.3 meters at 60 feet in height should not exceed a typical floor plate of 603.9 square meters or 6,500 square feet, and should be spaced, and it goes on, at least 24.3 or 80 feet from any other building above 60 feet in height. Now, the issue here is if you look at this building on the 6th floor, which meets that definition of above 60 feet, the floor plate exceeds the maximum set by staff for this site in the policy in the Grandview Woodland Community Plan. And how much is it over? Well, if you look at the drawings, it says 9,595.4 square feet, or 891 square meters, compared to what the maximum in the plan is, 603.9 square meters. So that's a significant upzone. It's actually, it doesn't fall under the policy in the Grandview Woodland Community Plan, so you can't say it's following the plan. And that's one of the many inaccuracies in the staff report. And I really feel strongly that staff should be presenting accurate information and information that is true to the plan. Now, there are issues with one of the view cone drawings. It's referring to a view cone from Child Lake, which has nothing to do with that area. But talk about two other items, and one is the sequestering of the community amenity contribution. So as a strata proposal with commercial at grade, there's $1.542 million worth of CAC, but yet again, staff are recommending that this get sequestered. In other words, the CAC would be paid out at the time of enactment, and it would go into city coffers. It would go to general expenses as an IOU for the future, and the Grandview Woodland community would not see this for whoever knows how long. And we can see this with Norquay, with CACs being sequestered. I'm not sure if this is actually quite following the Vancouver Charter either, and Section 565 on how CACs are supposed to be allocated and spent at the moment, and also the provincial guidance. So that is a huge concern, and this is not the first time this has happened in Grandview Woodland. It's happened over and over and over again with the rezonings. The CAC keeps getting sequestered and not allocated. And finally, if you look at the Grandview Woodland Community Plan, and you look at, they're looking at the time frame from 2011 to 2041. In other words, a 30-year time frame, and all the population protection, everything is based on that. It never got updated to the 2016 census. So I find it very curious if you go to the staff report and you go all the way to the Appendix F, and it says that the population of Grandview Woodland has grown by approximately 30 people since the 2016 census, updated the second quarter of 2020. And first of all, the goalpost has moved, but secondly, we just had like our census day on May the 11th. So if the numbers actually come out in February of next year to show that the population growth has been far more than 30 people, I think there's something seriously wrong that when staff bring numbers like this forward, that I can go through and start counting all the rental and new housing that's been built in Grandview Woodland, and like literally hundreds of new units have been built in that time frame, and many new residents. So I'm concerned about seeing inaccurate information or even information I would suggest to council. Well, you have to support this because we're not meeting our growth targets, and the population growth figures in staff report should not be there. And I really don't want to see this again in a staff report because it begs the question: who did this? Which member of staff is responsible? Is this Teresa O'Donnell? Is this Charlie McNeil? Who is it? Is it?
I'm afraid you're coming to the end of your time, and
so I'll wrap up then.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for your time, and I do wish that some of the inaccuracies in the staff report are addressed and that you could actually modify the 6-story so it meets the floor plate policy.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with us this evening. You have no questions. Thank you again. Speaker 9 was disconnected. I believe that puts us at the end of, please read the phone number again. Forgive me. One more time, if there are any other speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 61203 hashtag to get on the list before the close of the speakers list. This phone number will be tweeted out. If there are any additional speakers, I think, do we need to take a 5-minute recess to see if any calls come in, Clerk?
No additional speakers at this time, Deputy Mayor Hardwick, but yes, please take a 5-minute recess.
Great. Well, I've got 7:30 on the nose, so we'll reconvene at 7:35. At this point, Clerk, do we have any other speakers on the line?
No additional speakers.
Okay. That means that, sorry guys, just trying to still move around between fields here. I think, please help me with this, Clerk. There are no more speakers. Is this the point where I ask three times more?
Deputy Mayor Hardwick, please refer to script A at the, it's towards the end, waive 15-minute waiting period.
I there waive 15-minute waiting period for public comments if few or no public comments were received after 5 p.m. today, that part?
That's correct.
And there are no,
That's
and
correct.
Okay, and there are no speakers present at the hearing wishing to submit additional public comments in writing. The chair may waive the 15 minutes, that part. So are there any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council? I'll call for speakers 3 times. Are there any speakers who wish to speak to council? Are there any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council?
No additional speakers.
Seeing that there are no speakers, the speakers list is now closed. As few or no public comments were received on this item after 5 p.m. today, I suggest we now close the receipt of public comments and move on to hearing closing comments, asking further questions of staff, and to make a decision. Does the applicant have any closing comments?
No further comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Does staff have any closing comments?
No further comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Does council have any questions for staff? Hearing none, just double checking. Councillor Carr.
I am on the list.
Thank you very much, Councillor Carr. I'm just, they're changing my computer in the background here, so forgive me, I can't see my my list, but please go ahead for 3 minutes,
Not
I believe.
problem. I totally understand. Yeah, I do have a question. Stuff is arising from one of the speakers, and I just wanted to get staff's response to the statement that was made that under section 6.7.1 of the Grandview Woodland Plan, if the height of this building site is over 60 feet, it should not exceed
Point of privilege, I'm having trouble hearing
0.9 meters
Carr.
squared, 500.
Councillor Carr, you're
repeat.
breaking up. We're having difficulty hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try speaking more directly into the mic. So just looking for staff to respond to the question that was raised, or the point that was raised by the speaker around the plan section 6.7.1. If a building is over 60 feet in height, it should not exceed a floor plate of 603.9 meters squared, or 6,500 square feet. Could you just respond to that, the authority you have brought forward this, if it does it, what is?
Councillor Carr, again, you're breaking up and we're getting every second word. Perhaps you could turn off your video and see if that helps.
Okay, actually, if you just hold on 1 second, I'm just going to replace this this mic with a headset. So just
can we pause Councillor Carr's
Chair,
time?
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, now, and we just paused your timer.
Chair, are you able to hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Is that better?
No.
Okay, it's great. Thank you. My question is to staff, and it's around the follow-up to the speaker that noted under section 6.7.1 of the Grandview Woodland Plan, if at the site a building is exceeding 60 feet, it should not exceed a floor plate of 603.9 meters squared, or 6,500 feet squared. I'm wondering if staff can just outline for me the authority under which um, they have brought forward this application, if it does indeed conflict with the plan.
Did you get that, staff?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Carr, my name is Marie Linehan, Senior Development Planner. That provision in the built form guidelines is broadly applicable to the station area, so all different types of building typologies will occur in the station area, and that specific point pertains to tower podium forms. So when you're above the podium, the tower floor plate is limited to 6,500 square feet to achieve objectives like spaciousness between towers. It's a standard requirement you've probably seen in other areas. It is not applicable to 6-story buildings. The 60 feet referenced would be a typical 6-story residential building. Because this is a mixed-use building, it's slightly higher at 70 feet because we have a taller ground floor for commercial use. But it would otherwise meet the intent of being a 6-story building, and the 6,500-foot cap, which is applicable to tower forms, is not applicable here. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. That's great. That's my questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Carr. I'm looking, but I don't see that we have anyone else on the queue. So I'm going to go back to my script, and that takes us past council questions for staff. Council will, it says council will now make its decision on this application. Can we have a mover for the recommendation?
So moved.
So moved. Councillor DiGenova.
I think I heard Councillor Wiebe first. Was that you, Councillor Wiebe?
That's correct.
And seconded by Councillor DiGenova. Thank you very much. Is there any debate? Would anyone like to speak to this item? Looks like there are no councillors on the queue.
I'm trying to get on Swanson.
Okay, well, please go ahead. There's Councillor Swanson. Councillor Swanson has the floor for, forgive me, is it 5 minutes or 3 minutes, Clerk?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Councillor Swanson. Please go ahead.
I keep thinking of the report I read about the income of low-income people in Grandview Woodlands, evidently 20 years ago or something like that. About 40% of people in Grandview were under the low-income cutoff, and now it's about 20%. And that isn't because salaries are rising, it's because of gentrification. So I would find it a lot easier to vote for this project if there was at least a smidgen of attempt at some kind of affordability. But as it is, it's probably going to be all for people who make probably 150 grand a year, which is about 10% of our residents. And I just don't think we should be building so much housing for people with that income and so little housing for people that don't have a high income. So I'll be voting against it.
Thank you, Councillor Swanson. Is there anyone else on the queue? Help me out here, Clerk. No one else. Thank you very much. Then in that case, Council will now make its decision on this application. Can we go to the voting queue, please?
Point of privilege, Councillor DiGenova, vote in favor, please. Vote assist. Thank you, Chair Hardwick.
Thank you, Councillor DiGenova. I'm still trying to figure out how to vote from this new panel that's just appeared in front of me. Can you help me out, Clerk?
I can give you a vote assist.
In opposition, please. Oops. I'm Mayor Stewart according to that, and I'm absent. Great. So is that completed now?
Vote is complete with 2
Thank
members
you
in
very
opposition.
much. So then I think we will move on to
Deputy Mayor
number-
Hardwick, you need to announce the members in opposition, which is yourself and Councillor Swanson.
Thank you very much. That has passed with Mayor Stewart absent and 2 in opposition, myself and Councillor Swanson. Okay, moving on, making good time, and forgive me for my stumbling. Number 4, CD1 rezoning, 8257 to 8273 Oak Street and 1025 to 1035 West 67th Avenue. Does any member of council wish to declare conflict of interest on item 4? Hearing none, the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by GBL Architects to rezone 8257 to 8273 Oak Street and 1025 to 1035 West 67th Avenue from RS1 Residential and C1 Commercial to CD1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of an 8-story mixed-use building containing 62 strata-titled residential units, a height of 28.3 meters, with additional height for a rooftop amenity space and a floor space ratio of 3.53 are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability recommends approval. The following correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing and prior to the close of the speakers list and receipt of public comments. 1 piece of correspondence in support and 2 pieces of correspondence in opposition. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Deputy Mayor, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I was asking, since there are no speakers for this item, if we wanted to waive the presentation from staff.
Move to waive the presentation.
Can I have a seconder?
Second. Councillor
Thank you.
DiGenova.
Thank you. All in favor say yay.
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 Any in opposition say
Yay.
nay. I think I heard all yays. Okay, in that case, we will waive the staff presentation. Is the applicant team here to speak to the application?
Yes, this is Chris Huxtable from GBL Architects. We also have a member of the development team available to answer any questions if needed.
Do you have a presentation, or would you like to speak to the application?
We do not have a presentation tonight.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council to staff or the applicants? Please note this is the only opportunity of council to ask questions of the applicant. No one is on the queue. Okay, in that case, we will now hear from the public. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 61203 hashtag to get on the list before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be tweeted out and made available on the live stream. Clerk, are there any speakers?
No speakers for this item.
So at this point, since there are, is this the point where I ask 3 times or?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to call 3 times for additional speakers. Are there any additional speakers? Are there any additional speakers? Are there any additional speakers? If there are any additional speakers who wish to speak to this council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by the participant code 6120 on the live stream. At this point, I suggest we take a 5-minute recess to see if any calls have been received on the phone. And I've asked 3 times, so 5 minutes. It's now 8:52, so we'll see you back here at 8:57. Thanks, everyone.
The council is currently on a short 5-minute recess. If anyone currently in the room would like to
That clerk? Okay, good to go. Were there any speakers that have called in since our 5-minute break?
No additional speakers, Deputy Mayor.
Seeing there are no speakers, the speakers list is now closed. As few or no public comments were received on this item after 5 p.m. today, I suggest we now close the receipt of public comments and move on to hearing closing comments, asking further questions of staff, and to make a decision. Does the applicant have any closing comments?
No, just thank you for everybody's time, and we are available for any further questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Does staff have any closing comments?
No closing comments, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. And does council have any questions for staff? No one is on the queue. So, council will now make its decision on this application. Do we have a mover for a recommendation?
Yep, so move.
Councillor Kirby-Young.
Second. Councillor Carr.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Kirby-Young and Councillor Carr. Is there any debate? And no one is on the queue. Okay. We can go on to the vote. Can everyone then please register their vote?
Point of privilege. Councillor DeGenova, I'd like a vote of system favor, please. Chair Hardwick.
I think that's done. Thank you. Again, I'm not sure whether I would be seen as being Councillor Hardwick or the mayor in this case, but clerk,
Sorry,
if you can register.
Chair Hardwick, I should say Deputy Mayor Hardwick.
Or Colleen is fine. And please register me, clerk, in opposition. Okay, moving right along, we are now on to number 5 on the agenda.
Deputy Mayor Hardwick, there were 2 members in opposition, Councillor yourself and Councillor Swanson. You did not register on the voting screen, but we'll correct that after the meeting.
Thank you very much. I will get this down eventually. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to number 5, CD1 rezoning 8655 Granville Street. Does any member of council wish to declare conflict of interest on item number 5? Hearing nothing, the clerk will now read the application and summary of correspondence received.
This is an application by Red Buffalo 8655 Holdings Limited to rezone 8655 Granville Street from C2 Commercial District to CD1 Comprehensive Development District to permit the development of an 11-story mixed-use building with at-grade commercial space, office space, and 55 strata-titled residential units. A height of 38.4 meters and a floor space ratio of 4.10 are proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability recommends approval. The following correspondence has been received since referral to public hearing and prior to the close of the speakers list and receipt of public comments. 4 pieces of correspondence in support, 4 pieces of correspondence in opposition, and 1 piece of correspondence dealing with other aspects of the application. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much, clerk. If there are any speakers for this item who wish to speak to council, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 61203# to get on the list before the close of the speakers list. The phone number will be tweeted out and made available on the live stream. We now have Scott Erdman, Rezoning Planner, Rezoning Center, Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability, here to present the application.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just want to check first, can everyone see the presentation on their screen?
Yes, I'm not sure on the public screen. There it is. Excellent. Thank you. Please
Great.
proceed.
Thank you. Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. My name is Scott Erdman, and I am the rezoning planner for this rezoning application at 8655 Granville Street. The site is located in Marpole, on the west side of Granville Street, mid-block between West 70th and 71st Avenues, as seen on the map highlighted in red. Formerly a gas station, the site is currently developed with a temporary community garden. The site is in the heart of Marpole's High Street shopping area on Granville Street, with low-rise commercial buildings to the north and south. Half a block to the north is the Safeway site, which includes 2 high-rise residential towers atop a new store. A mix of low-rise apartment buildings and detached houses are to the west and east in nearby residential areas. The site is zoned C2, which allows for commercial development and is shown in red on the map. Sites to the north and south along Granville Street are also zoned for commercial uses. RM zones, which allow for multifamily dwellings, are to the east and west. The site is located within the catchment of David Lloyd George Elementary School and McGee Secondary School. According to the Vancouver School Board's 2019 Draft Long Range Facilities Plan, capacity exists at both schools, both for present day and for forecasted enrollment. William Mackey Park is located 2 blocks to the west. The Marpole branch of the Vancouver Public Library is 2 blocks to the north, while the Marpole Neighborhood House is 4 blocks to the east. The site is within a shopping area that stretches along Granville Street and includes a large amount of retail shops and services. The site is well served by transit, with frequent local bus service along Granville Street. This proposal is being considered under the Marpole Community Plan, which was adopted in 2014 and is a comprehensive document designed to manage growth in the neighborhood center with a variety of shops, services, restaurants, and a mix of housing types. At this location, buildings up to 12 stories with a 2 to 3 story podium and density up to 3.5 FSR can be considered. Additional density may be considered for projects that propose office space above the first floor. A mix of commercial uses, which may include retail, service, and community serving uses, are required on the first floor, with residential uses above. The proposal before you tonight was received in October of 2019. Processing time was extended for negotiation of the community amenity contribution. The proposal is for an 11-story mixed-use building with ground floor commercial retail units, second floor office space, and 55 strata residential units above. 65% of the units are 2 or more bedrooms, exceeding the minimum requirements under the city's family room policy. A mid-block pedestrian connection is included on the north side, connecting Avery Avenue and the lane with Granville Street. 4 levels of underground parking and an FSR of 4.10 are proposed. A city-hosted open house was held as an in-person event prior to COVID-19. The open house took place in February 2020 and was attended by approximately 15 people. Staff have received a total of 7 responses for this application. Feedback included support for the building design and neighborhood fit for the project. Concerns included comments regarding the traffic and parking impacts and affordability of the proposed housing. Staff have reviewed the comments and have determined that the proposal meets the intents of the Marpole Community Plan for this site. Conditions have been included in Appendix B to further improve the design development of the proposal. This application, if approved, would generate nearly $2 million in CACs to be allocated towards the community benefits outlined in the Marpole Public Benefit Strategy. Further, total DCLs of approximately $1.6 million would be anticipated. As part of the Restart Smart Vancouver initiative in response to COVID-19, if approved, this project would generate approximately 250 off-site and on-site construction jobs, contributing to Vancouver's post-COVID economic recovery. Staff recommend the application be approved, subject to conditions outlined in Appendix B. Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council. Staff and the applicant team are available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Is the applicant team here to speak to the application?
Yes, greetings, council members and staff. My name is Daniel Eisenberg. I am with GBL Architects, and we are here for questions. Thank you very much. We'll waive the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions from council to staff or the applicants? I see this is the only opportunity of council to ask questions of the applicant. I see Councillor Kirby-Young is on the queue. Councillor Kirby-Young?
Yeah, thank you. Question for staff first. I know you said it, quote, meets the intent of the Marpole Community Plan, and secondly, that it meets the height. Can you be more explicit? I'm scanning.
So the policy for this location says up to 12 stories.
Up to 12. So this is hitting the max permissible within the plan.
This proposal is for 11 stories, so it's actually slightly below the maximum heights anticipated by the plan for this location.
Okay, and can you refresh in terms of the treatment? Can you describe a bit in terms of the treatment of the top story and the roof with respect to setback or any green space there at all, or not?
There's no proposed amenity space on the roof, so it's just anticipated to be a green roof.
Okay, but does the plan, I know Councillor Weeb was asking about this earlier and other items, does the Marpole plan allow for green space on the roofs?
So there's no policy specific in the Marpole Community Plan that would allow for the provision of a rooftop amenity space.